You like him better than all the other teams?
I mean, I'm a Giant fan, but week one, the Cowboys, I think, are in a good position against the Giants. I mean,
Yeah,
Eli throws
shit.
interceptions like you wouldn't believe, you know?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess the smart thing to do would be to look at the over-unders, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too, but we're live for Brews and Bets, CG.
Oh
So,
man, you prick.
you just want to let everybody know who your fantasy defense is and everything else. How was Canada, bro?
Canada was great, man. Nice, relaxing, long weekend. Lost a shit ton of money on UFC China, but ready to get back in the winning column this weekend, Steve. I don't like that the fights are at what 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. That sucks, but
Yeah, I think the main card is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, that probably makes about as much sense as it could make. So the funny part about tonight, CG, is Ty Slice isn't feeling well. I'm in a fantasy draft. I'm doing my fantasy draft right now, and you're doing a fantasy draft right now, and we're here to talk fights. So we might as well just have fun with it. You know what I mean?
let's do it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not going to give any fluff. I'm not here to talk about fights that I have no interest in. This first fight though, do I have any reason not to bet Don Maj by finish? I feel like he's a wild man. He's looking to finish the fight. And for the most part, I believe it's a pick 'em. No, it isn't a pick 'em.
No,
He's
no.
minus 189, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's
He
minus
got
189.
yeah. He was up to minus 340 for a little bit there,
Yeah, I just
and
put it
then
up there for you. I beat you to it.
oh, you did.
We got a little. I don't know if you want to come on, but there's later in the week. I'm gonna be going live on Thursday with Ian Parker and our buddy Yanni.
Really?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
going live on Thursday. If you want to come on, talk
Hmm.
some shit. I don't mind
Is there
them.
going to be some tension there or what?
I mean, there was tension. I don't know if there's still tension. I guess we'll find out on
Yeah.
Thursday. But if you want to come on, I really just plan on like throwing the fights out there and letting those two guys kind of go at it on Thursday. To be honest with you,
Okay. All right.
it's up to you. Just
Yeah.
sometimes
No.
it's tough. Sometimes it's tough to go live twice in a week. You know what I'm saying?
No. Definitely. But I'll tell you what. I like that. I like that group of guys, man. Yanni and yeah, Ian Parker. He was very informative last time he was on our show. So yeah, let's try to make that for sure.
Yeah, I started listening to Ian Parker on Kenny and Florian podcast, and I got up
Mm-hmm.
to the part right when he started giving picks, and then I got to work today and I couldn't finish. So maybe I'll finish tomorrow morning. But yeah, like, what do you think about this first fight now that we have the odds up there?
Yeah, no, I definitely like Don Maj at minus 189. I like him to win specifically by TKO. The props aren't out yet, right?
No, not
No,
yet.
props aren't out. So, yeah, no, I think that's a really good line. I think his kickboxing is on point. He finished all 8 of his wins. He's on a five fight win streak. And Ziam Ferris is 10-2, 9 finishes. But I think as long as Madge can keep the fight standing, I think he should cruise to hopefully a dominating victory. So I definitely like him in this spot.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with Madge in his first fight. And again, I don't really know much about this guy Ziam, but do you know anything about him that interests you or not really?
No, I was looking at his record. I saw some of his fights on YouTube. Wasn't overly impressed. I know Ziam beat a guy that was on The Ultimate Fighter, Laveras, I think his name is. It was the season where Uriah Faber and Connor were the coaches, and this one fighter was on Connor's team. Looked okay, and I know Ziam Ferris, or I'm sorry, Ferris Ziam has a win over him, but that's really the only fighter that I really knew that he beat. So I think Madge should cruise. Madge is a very, very polished kickboxer. He's also Cyborg's Muay Thai coach, I believe. So yeah, I think he should cruise. I don't understand why the line came down so much, but yeah, I like Madge.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been maybe that was a little bit too high, the minus 342 or whatever that was, but over minus 200 I think is a fine play on Madge. But and doesn't he have all three losses to like the same guy too in MMA?
Yeah, well, I know two for sure. Two for sure. Yeah, I don't know about his third loss. I know. I think He lost one by decision. I want to say he was subbed one time.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, all 3 losses by
All
the
3
same. I
losses
remember
to the
that
same
from
guy.
last time. Yeah,
Yeah.
guillotine choke, decision, and once by punches. And what he did to T. Edwards was
Yeah, but let's be
that was
honest.
just a
We
beating,
know
bro.
what T. Edwards is right now. He's somebody that maybe looks the part, had one good showing on the Contender Series, and the guy has no cardio, and he is now 0-2 in the UFC. So I don't want to put too much emphasis on that fight because I think T. Edwards is obviously very overrated, but match still looked pretty good. So
CG, as I go into the second fight, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the first of 7 Russians fighting on this card with Khabib. And I just have the feeling that they are very, very motivated to win here. So Amari Akhmedov and Zach Cummings. I'm not very impressed with Zach Cummings myself. So when I see a line like this on Akhmedov minus 120, I can't help but think that there's something I'm not seeing in this line. I just feel like there's a great play here on Amari. What do you think?
I disagree. I
Okay, go ahead.
disagree. Akhmedov has 0 takedowns in his last 2 fights. He went for 2 takedowns against Boch, 2 against Vettori, and all 4 takedowns were stuffed. I know he averages 2.5 takedowns per fight in his entire UFC career. And Cummings doesn't have the best takedown defense at 66%, but if Cummings can keep the fight standing, I think he's the much more fluid striker. I know when you look back at Cummings' last loss, it was to Michel Prazeres, and Prazeres had a takedown-based game plan. So that does concern me a little bit, but overall, I think Cummings has the edge in striking, even though he is low volume. I don't like that, 2.6 strikes per minute. But I think he's got the better striking technique. I think he's got the better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Akhmedov has the better wrestling. And that's pretty much it. And he doesn't have good top control. Plus, I think Cummings has the better gas tank as well. I just think Cummings has more things going for him. But obviously, these Abu Dhabi judges are going to, they're going to have me a little bit concerned. So if the fight goes to decision, I think Cummings has to make the victory very decisive to the point where it's not up for debate. I don't know if he can do it, but I still think Cummings has more upside in this fight and the better skill set.
Interesting, because I think I think very similarly to what you think, but I think that the judging is going to come into play here, and I think Akhmedov wins a decision.
I can see that happening. Honestly, I could. I mean, if it's like a close 29-28 fight, I mean, like I said, Cummings has to make it very decisive. And, I understand your concerns. I mean, Cummings doesn't really offer much takedown upside, 2.6 strikes per minute, low volume. But I just think he's the better fighter. Plus Akhmedov always fades late. And, Cummings scored a 3rd round knockout against Giles. Well, I think he knocked Giles down and then ended up submitting him. But, Cummings is dangerous all 3 rounds. Akhmedov slows down as the fight goes on.
So, again, I'm going to give you another one of those regional plays here, but I do like Muslim. I'm surprised the line came down. I just think that this is another fight that's going to wind up going to decision. Isn't Nordin Taleb about 45 years old at this point? I mean, I know
he's getting up there. He's what? He's 38.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a Faraz Zahabi guy. I just feel like he's slowing down a little bit. I know he wants to strike, but I feel like this is going to go to decision, and he's going to lose the decision here. So again, I'm going with regional plays here. I don't have huge breakdowns or these are just kind of very, very light leans that I'm looking at here. Not going into much detail, but that's kind of where my head's at with this. I think these guys are well matched. I think this is a close fight, and I'm showing the line right here, minus 195 when it opened. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I just want to let you know that my fantasy draft is over, so you have my full undivided attention. And once again, we disagree. I don't understand your position on this fight. So I think Taleb has the more well-rounded skill set again. He's fighting a guy that TriStar already has a win over. Alex Garcia provided the blueprint on how to expose Salikov, and I think Taleb can do the same. Taleb has better striking volume at 3.7 strikes per minute, averages over 2 takedowns per fight. What does Salikov have going right now? He lands under 2 strikes per minute, no takedown upside whatsoever. And it took him, 2 rounds to dispose of Rainey? I don't know. I think if Taleb has a takedown-based game plan, he should cruise in this spot. I mean, Salikov proved to not have the best takedown defense at 62%. He wasn't very good at defending submissions. He's kind of a one-trick pony. One thing about Taleb, he's got a pretty good fight IQ. He can usually follow a game plan. I like Taleb. I think he has more paths to victory.
All right, I got to make a pick here real quick, CG. So I kind of want to go Jared Goff here.
Oof.
Quarterback. You don't like him?
Why? What round?
I'm in the 10th.
Okay, so is your QB2?
No, he's my QB1. I haven't taken a quarterback yet.
Is Murray on the board?
Murray's on the board.
I like Murray.
All right, I want Murray.
All right.
It's that simple.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck it. All right. So where are we at here?
We are. So you like Salikov? That's it. We're not debating this. You're that confident in Muslim Salikov.
I mean, I said a slight lean, and I said more because of the regional. I can't go against any of these Russian guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I just feel like they're gonna go to decision. I don't know.
I don't know if this one will, though. I mean, Alex Garcia fucking sucks, Steve. He sucks. He doesn't have a gas tank. He's just not that good of a fighter. Garcia took him down and submitted him. How many submissions does fucking Alex Garcia have? Now I'm getting upset.
Is Nordine Taleb taking anybody down, though? Is he going to
take? Taleb gets taken. He averages over 2 per fight. Yeah. He can take you down.
All right, listen. 100%. I'm not betting any of these fights that I'm talking about. I may throw something on my edge by inside the distance. I may throw something on that.
Yeah, this is a tough card from a betting perspective. That's for sure.
Yeah, but that's about it. All right, maybe we could agree on this. I mean, I'm all over Bilal Muhammad. I mean, to win the fight. I don't know if you want to lay that kind of juice. It's a big line, right? Minus 355.
No, God, for a while it was hovering at minus 250, and I'm kicking myself to not bet it at that. But I like Bilal. I think he cruises. He's very well-rounded, 4.4 strikes per minute, lands over 2 takedowns per fight, good cardio. I think the UFC put him in a spot to win, obviously fighting in Abu Dhabi. And, yeah, I mean, I think there's just a bona fide path to victory here against Sato, who gets taken down a lot. So, I mean, obviously, we saw in Sato's first fight, he's got some power, good striking, but I think Bilal typically has a pretty good fight IQ. He's usually doesn't stand and trade recklessly unless he has to. So, yeah, I think Bilal can definitely win this fight if he has a takedown-based game plan, and I think he will.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
He learned in his fight against Vicente Luque. He started trading with Luque, got knocked out, and hasn't really done it since. A little bit with Tim Means, but he's just got good boxing. He's got good wrestling. He's just a well-rounded fighter. He really is. Forward pressure, leg kicks. I mean, the guy was going to law school. He's obviously pretty intelligent. Usually has a good game plan. So yeah, I definitely like Muhammad. I don't know. Maybe Muhammad by decision. What do you think about that?
I actually like that a lot. The last time I was actually at his fight. That was UFC 208. That was the randomie card, which everybody hears me talk about is probably the worst pay-per-view ever, right? We've said this multiple times over the last year and a half. But with that being said, yeah, he had a good decision win. I believe it was Randy Brown that night that he wound up beating off the top of my head.
That is correct. Very good memory. Yes.
Yeah, and I like him. I like Bilal. And again, he's a devout Muslim. He fasts and he's not fasting right now. And I think that fighting in this part of the world means a lot to him.
I think it does too.
He's a guy who I think it's not that I don't think that other opponents don't have his undivided attention, but I think that they definitely put him in a spot where he can succeed here. So
Okay, you ready for this, by the way?
Go ahead.
Muhammad's last 6 fights went to decision.
Did he go? He didn't get beat. No, he actually got beat up pretty good
By Jeff Neal.
by Jeff Neal, and yeah, then that did go to decision, right?
His last 6
He
fights.
took a beating in that fight.
He did. Yeah, I mean, he was dropped numerous times, but hey, he's tough. You know, if you finish Bilal Muhammad, it's because the lights went out. You know, he's going unconscious. So yeah, I like Muhammad by decision. I'm gonna write that one down. Sato, he's lost twice. How did he lose? Off the top of your head, you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I remember him not having the best takedown defense and submission defense either. So, I guess if he lost,
he lost to Ben Saunders.
No, he beat
Cross and ground and pound.
Yeah, so he's 1 KO loss, 1 submission loss. So he lost to Takagi, Pancras, and Franca by rear naked choke.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So yeah, I think I like Muhammad by decision.
Oh, he won versus Ben Saunders. I just said
yeah.
I'm sorry, he won versus Ben Saunders.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, what does that really mean? As long as you connect on Ben Saunders, you're knocking him out, right?
Yeah, he's got no chin. The guy needs to retire.
So, all right, let's go to this next fight.
Jesus, Ben Saunders has been KO'd 8 times. Oof.
He has been. It's
time to hang it up.
Teemu Packalén and Atman Azatar. Again, Azatar is another guy who, what country is he from?
Morocco. I think he was born in Germany, but he's Moroccan. And I think he comes from a prestigious family. He's connected, and he has a rap sheet.
Okay.
Not a good dude. Not a good dude.
Well, he may be a good guy to bet on here. I
think he is. Yeah. I mean, I guess if he wins me money, he's not the worst guy. So.
Yeah. There is a distinct height advantage though here, right? For Teemu?
Yeah, 6'1" and 5'8". Yeah.
So you got a distinct height advantage, and on top of that, he's got some UFC experience. He actually did beat a pretty game, not the most skilled, but Gowdy is pretty game.
He is
in his fights. He really does bring it. Not the most skilled fighter, but he goes hard. And he's lost to Mark Diakisi. So, to me, again, if this goes to decision, I don't see a way that, I'm sure Azatar's family probably, paid off the judges already.
Right.
But I think Packalén needs to win inside the distance. But, there's definitely ways for him to finish his fight. But what do you think here, CG?
I think Packalén is being brought in to lose to Azatar. Packalén is 8-2, 6 submissions, 1-2 in the UFC. Like you said, knocked stiff by Diakisi in his last fight. Azatar is 11-0, 91% finish rate. He's very, very aggressive. I think he has a professional boxing background in Germany. What concerns me a little bit about him, though, is he's only seen the 3rd round twice. And I'm worried that his early aggression might lead to some cardio issues, but I think for the most part he rolls. I think if the fight goes to decision, he's pretty much a shoo-in to win. But I think that he can actually stop Packalén in this fight. So I like Azatar, and I like him to win inside the distance. So I will parlay him. I already have parlayed him with some other fighters.
Oh, so really?
He's one of the few fighters I really, really like on this card. So.
Yeah, I can't say that I really, really like. And actually someone I do like pretty good is coming up. But
I just don't think Packlin's good. I really don't. When he beat Gody, Gody was somebody, when he first came in the UFC, he was just getting rolled over by everybody. And he got better as his fights went on. And I want to say he actually got screwed in a decision loss against Sage Northcutt. But back when Gody lost to Packlin, it was pretty shitty. I want to say Gody went to Jackson Wink and really developed. So I just don't think Packalon's good, and I think he's going to take a canvas nap in this fight.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm staying away from it, but I don't totally agree. But this next fight here, we have Sarah Miraz, who Cheesecake, who got actually put up a decent first round to get Macy Chiasson
Yeah.
in her last fight as a big underdog. But then she's lost to Toledo Bernardo and Lucy Pudilova. But Lucy Pudilova doesn't beat anybody in the UFC. So
Neither does Bernardo.
yeah, that's true too.
I
And
think
then
that really is Bernardo's only UFC victory. Let me double check that.
and
Pretty
again,
sure it is.
actually, now that I think about it, I think it is.
Yeah.
And then we have Liana Jojua is her name, and again, she looks like she's young locally in the Russia scene. Right, Fight Nights Global is the Russian program. Her last fight is from there. I just think that she's got to beat, she's got to beat Sarah Miraz here at minus 145. I don't see how you wouldn't want to play that. CG, what do you think here?
No, I'm in 100% agreement. Sarah Miraz lands 1.8 strikes per minute, barely over one takedown per fight. She's 1-4 in the UFC. I don't think she's a UFC caliber fighter, but I do get nervous betting on these first-time UFC fighters, and I bet way too much money last week. And it was a mook move looking back, because it's just like watching these regional fights on YouTube, you don't have a full grasp of their skill sets. So that's what concerns me about Jojua. I mean, yeah, on paper, she should win, right? She's 7-2. She has an 85% finish rate. They're obviously, from what I can see, feeding Miraz, the 24-year-old prospect. But Miraz is a legit BJJ threat. I mean, she has a really good armbar. That's how she beat Ashley Evans Smith. But then again, I think Ashley Evans Smith kind of sucks. But I think as long as Jojua can defend the armbar, then she should win the fight. But, she gave Chiasson fights. She gave her, a tough first round in that last fight. So that does concern me. But, I mean, overall, shit, Sarah Miraz lost to Toledo Bernardo, who's 1-4 in the UFC. Miraz is the only person that Bernardo beat, and it wasn't even close. I mean, shit, Miraz made Bernardo look like fucking Tatiana Suarez. I mean, Bernardo doubled up Miraz in strikes, doubled her up in takedowns and advances. And Bernardo's one loss away from being cut. So, like I said, I'm concerned that Jojua hasn't fought in the UFC yet. Plus, she hasn't fought at all since February of 2018. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, so that concerns me a little bit. But, I think we need a little more research here. But at minus 140, yeah, you have to assume that Miraz is being fed to the prospect, right?
I think so, especially regionally. Go back to that regional theme that I started talking about before.
Yeah, because Jojua is from the country of Georgia.
24 years old.
24 years old, yeah.
And again, her last loss was 2016. She was 21. She hasn't fought in a while, but it was for the championship. It was for the bantamweight championship there.
Yeah, but you know what? Miraz did look pretty decent against Chiasson in that first round, which I can't even believe that. Chiasson to me is the biggest threat to Amanda Nunes at 135. So,
I don't know what kind of a threat she is to Amanda Nunes. I think
that's what I'm saying. But is anybody a threat to Nunes at 135 right now?
Yeah, probably not. But Chiasson, she struggles to even make 135. So.
Yeah.
She's got the cyborg syndrome going on. She's gonna have no water in the brain, and the minute that she gets hit, she's going out. But
no, yeah, I agree. I just think that 135 and it's just a weak division, and I have to assume that they're going away with 145, right?
I hope so. Yeah, Cyborg signed with Bellator today, right?
Yep.
So CJ, I heard your boy Zubara has been waiting a while to fight again, right?
Yeah. This is
Turkalov, Zubara Turkalov. When was his last fight? It had to be a while.
Moicano. It was a while ago. Moicano, I think, beat him in a split.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. And again, I think we both have very high opinions of Moicano, although he hasn't come through for us recently. But what do you think here in this fight? This guy Murphy coming in 8-0, decent record. Anything here? Does this guy have a shot?
I researched this fight way more than I would like to admit. So, you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Murphy's last finish was in September of 2017 against Nathan Thompson, who had a record of 7 wins and 40 losses. I repeat, 40 losses. This dude was TKO'd 20 times and subbed 20 times. You can't make it up. He also fought a young man named Tyler John Thomas from Wales with a record of 7 wins and 22 losses. And then he also beat a guy named Martin Bapuna from Sweden, who had a record of 5 wins and 12 losses. So I'm sure there's more, but after that, I was like, okay, I'm done. There's nothing else to see. So Murphy beat a bunch of cans in the UK. I don't think he's ready for Zabora. So for Zabora. So I think Zabara Cruz is in this spot, but I don't really like his line. Plus, I mean, yeah, Zabara is what, minus 465 right now. Not betting that, because who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, Murphy is 8-0. I mean, maybe he is good, and maybe he just didn't have any viable competition within his organization. Who knows? I mean, I think we all learned a lesson from Kamal Harris after he beat Devontae Smith, right? Sometimes you don't want to bet for or against first-time UFC fighters. I mean, you don't know how good they are, right? I mean, Harris was the biggest dog on that card and came through first-round knockout.
And again, when you talk about Zabara, I'm pretty sure he's training right now with Islam,
correct.
Khabib. You know what I mean? They're all in camp together. Like, this guy is going to be running sky high. There's no, if he gets caught with something, by all means, he loses the fight. But I don't see him losing I don't see him losing this fight at all.
I mean, he did take Moicano to a split decision, but shoot, you go back to December of 2015, barely edged out a split decision over the nurse from your neck of the woods, Philippe Nover. Philippe is no longer in the UFC.
No, I was going to say, and where is he right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think
he's not in Abu Dhabi, bro. He's not in Abu Dhabi. Mr. Nover is not in Abu Dhabi.
No, he's not. No, he's not. So I mean, I think Zabara Cruz is in this fight, but you have one guy that hasn't fought in a very long time. Then you have another guy who's plus 365. What is he? Plus 365. Plus 370, making his UFC debut. So yeah, I'm not even parlaying this. Pass. Hard pass.
So CG, Joanne Calderwood, Andrea Lee. I really, really like Andrea Lee here. And just want to see her line, right? 225? Is it 225?
I got her at minus 165.
Oh, you got a good line. She's 225 right now.
Yeah, I parlayed her with Dominic Reyes, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, and I really do like Andrea Lee here. I think she's going to be the better grappler on the feet. I think she's going to be better striker on the feet. My only concern is Calderwood on the ground. Is there any concern? I know you bet already. Is there any concern in this fight for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have Calderwood, who has better numbers, lands over 6 strikes per minute. She lands almost 2 takedowns per fight. I mean, statistically, she's better than Andrea Lee. The eye test tells me that Lee's the better fighter, and Lee's still high volume. She lands 5.3 strikes per minute. The thing about Lee, too, she only absorbs 2.3 strikes per minute, so she's very defensively sound. And I think if the fight hits the ground, Lee's a great scrambler. De La Rosa is a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, and Lee was dominating the grappling exchanges. Although Lee did get taken down a couple times, she got back up pretty quickly, and I just felt like she was better on the ground in that fight, and I think she's going to be better on the ground in this fight. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that can really compete with Shevchenko at this point, but I mean, who else do you have at that 125 division? I feel like you have Andrea Lee, and then you have Chookagian. Shevchenko probably wins both of those fights, but I think, I really think they're trying to push Lee. There's a background story. She's pretty damn good looking. She's marketable. So I think Lee wins this fight. But I am a little bit nervous. I mean, Calderwood outstruck Chukagian in their last fight and lost, and rightfully so. I thought Chukagian won that fight, but you get somebody like Joanne who's high volume, there's always going to be a concern. So I think Andrea Lee has to, just make sure that she's sharp and strike, and I think it might be a benefit to her to try to get the fight to the ground.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little interested in watching that fight at this point. I don't think I think we both think Andrea Lee's gonna win the fight, but I think that I'm concerned about the ground. You don't seem to be very concerned about it.
I mean, how many submission wins does Calderwood have? She submitted Kalindra Faria by armbar, I want to say armbar or triangle?
Triangle armbar.
It was triangle, okay. But Faria gets subbed all the time. And I don't think Faria won a single fight in the UFC. So, I'm not overly concerned, really. I'm not.
Okay.
She's
also lost. Calderwood has lost to some pretty good competition. Every time she's fought someone, she has lost. So.
And I actually thought she beat Calvillo. It was very close. It was a very close fight. It could have went either way. But
all right. Let's get into this next fight. This
are you drinking beer, by the way? Should I grab one or no?
I'm drinking wine.
Oh, are you?
Finished up some wine from dinner. My in-laws came over. We opened the bottle of wine, had some Chinese food and wine, and now I'm still drinking wine. Almost fell asleep with my son, so I'm a little out of it anyway.
So if your in-laws came over, you're going to want to drink a lot of wine, right?
No, they're fine.
Oh, okay.
But I always want to drink a lot of wine, though. So,
Yeah.
It doesn't really have anything to do with anything else other than I want to drink wine.
I get it.
So, yeah, I did it. Marvik Daisimov, I'm all over him in this fight against Diego Ferreira. I think everything is in his favor. What's his line right now? Daisimov.
I don't understand this one.
You don't understand my take or the fight?
I don't understand the line. I think it's wide.
You think shouldn't be?
I think it should be closer.
I think it should be closer too, to be honest with you. But I think Daisimov is going to beat him in a pretty. Maybe it'll be close decision. I could see it be a split decision, but I think Daisimov is going to wind up beating him.
I think some money's coming in on. Yeah, so some money's coming in on Diego. He opened at plus 265.
Why do you think money's coming in on Diego right here?
Oh, shit. It said yesterday he got as low as plus 195, and then it came back up to 220.
I can help you out here. Let's see what this looks like. Here you go.
Why is Daisimov going to win the fight so convincingly?
I mean, I said split decision. I think he's the better striker. I think he's going to beat him at striking.
Well, I just think that if you're going to bet him at that line, you got to hope for something more than a split decision.
Really? You're not okay with just a win?
At that line, no way. No way.
So let's go through some of his last fights, right? If you go Jared Gordon, didn't he punched Jared Gordon in the balls twice earlier in that fight?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that Jared Gordon was probably, feeling it, dropping his hands when he wound up getting, beaten. And didn't he, I believe the finish was on the ground. He kind of trapped his arm behind him and was beating him with some ground and pound?
Yes.
Okay, Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson isn't good, right?
No.
So second round, and then Kyle Nelson came out and wound up losing to your boy, right? Matty Sales, next fight out. So I don't think Matt Nelson is very good at all. And then if you remember back to the fight with Rustam Kabalov, I believe that was in Russia.
Yes.
Right? And he weighed in. He was a little overweight, and he was, a decent favorite. I think he went off as no,
CDF was a dog in that spot.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a dog. For sure.
Wasn't Kabalov?
I remember. I bet him.
Wasn't Kabalov? If I remember it right, it closed late, but wasn't earlier in the week Kabalov was a pretty big favorite, like minus 200?
Yeah, I think he was.
Right, and then it closed. So whatever he went off as, he closed that way. But he was, if you remember, everyone was a big fan of him on DraftKings, and he wound up coming through for everybody as with the odds value and everything like that. But I just, and again, the thing with Kabalov, I just don't think that Kabalov is as good as a striker consistently in this case as a guy. Is the line a little bit too big as Tyson on Tyson?
I just think so. I
think he's a better striker, though.
No, I get it, but if you're going to bet him at -255, that means that he has an implied probability of about 72% to win the fight. Do you think there's a 72% likelihood that he's going to win this fight?
Do I really have to answer that?
So
I'm gonna
lines.
Say no. All right, no.
So it changes things when you add that implied probability into the mix, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So Kabalov opened -125 against CDF and closed as a -150 favorite. CDF closed at +100.
So I'll tell you what, I just realized that we have like 10 comments.
Okay.
But I'll throw some of the comments up there.
Okay.
Your boy Dr. Beans is all over Zion.
Really?
Did you see it?
I see it now. Yeah.
Match.
The whole Tyson thing. So he's so low volume. He lands 2.9 strikes per minute, 1.7 takedowns per fight. CDF lands 4.7 strikes per minute. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. Who beat better guys? I would say CDF. Some of these scrubs that Tyson beat aren't even in the UFC anymore. Philippe Silva. I mean, I think he was undefeated actually when Tyson beat him. But Alan Patrick, I don't think he's in the UFC. Marcin Bandel, Tai-Hun Bang. Come on. He beat Desmond Green, and they both landed 27 strikes. But I think Tyson won 30-27 because it was in Russia. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like betting on guys that are that low volume. But I will say Tyson is the more technical striker. He's a good counter striker, and he punches with a lot of freaking power. But, Tyson probably wins the fight. I'm not going to bet him, though.
All right.
And I like CDF mainly in DraftKings. What is he? I think he's 7,200. Yeah.
You know what? I haven't even looked at DraftKings, but yeah, 7,200 is a great play for him because he has a shot at finishing this fight. CDF.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really, really good play there. What do you think about the return of Curtis Blades here, CG? Why don't you break this one down first? Curtis Blades is coming in. Everybody was talking about him getting the next shot at the title, right? Maybe getting a shot at Cormier. This was obviously before Cormier lost and before he lost to Francis Ngannou. But Ngannou put him out with that shot in the first round. He came back and beat Justin Willis, and now he's here against Shamil. So what do you think here?
Blades is a beast. Lands almost 4 strikes per minute, almost 7 takedowns per fight. Abdurakhimov has 66% takedown defense, so it's there for the taking. Plus, Abdurakhimov is damn near 40 years old, but he has a 5-2 UFC record. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's a low output striker at 2.6 strikes per minute, but he can crack. Won 2 of his last 3 fights via TKO, and Blades is very hittable. Don't like that, but I think Blades should cruise. Hopefully he can land some takedowns and score a ground and pound victory. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I think will happen. And I have Blades in a lot of my parlays. So I got him at a better line. I know he's -485 right now. I got him around -280, 290, I want to say.
That's not bad at all.
No.
All right, so I'm going to give everybody a parlay here to finish up this card. So I think that a very nice parlay would be the final 3 fights. If you just put it on Islam, Barboza, and Khabib,
Oof.
Parlay those three, and I think you're in there. So CG, Islam, and Davi Ramos. I heard some people on Twitter. Oh, not heard. I read some people on Twitter today on Ramos. Again, Davi Ramos is not going to outstrike Islam. Islam is going to wind up taking him down, and I think he's going to be able to control Davi Ramos. And I just see Islam winning, cruising to a decision here, especially in Russia. Khabib's dad's going to be there. You know what I mean? He's got the hometown judges. Not in Russia, but in that part of the world. Like I don't see these Brazilians really being able to go over and beat a Russian over in Abu Dhabi. What do you think here?
You're more confident than I am. I think the line is a little bit wide. I do give the slight edge to Makhachev. Besides Khabib, I think he's the best control grappler at 155. But you said that Ramos isn't going to outland Makhachev, but he does. Ramos lands 3.5 strikes per minute. Makhachev lands less than 2. So, Makhachev he is good, though. I mean, it's crazy to me how effortlessly he was able to neutralize Nick Lentz, who was a Division I wrestler. Wrestled for, I believe it was the University of Minnesota in the Big Ten. He scored 5 takedowns and 12 advances in that fight. I mean, just dominated Lentz in grappling. But now he's facing Ramos, who's a world-renowned BJJ black belt. I mean, the ground is Ramos's comfort zone. Do you really want to take that guy down? I don't think Makhachev has ever fought anybody with the BJJ credentials that Ramos has. So when you really assess the avenues to victory here, it's going to be Makhachev grappling-based decision. And throughout that entire time, he has to worry about not getting subbed. He's got to worry about, defending arm bars and everything else. And I just think it's a very, very dangerous fight for Makhachev. He probably wins. My guess is that it's going to be a very, very boring grappling-based decision, but it's a pass for me. I'm not betting Islam at minus 325. No thanks. I'll pass on that.
You think Davi Ramos gets top control?
I mean, dude, the guy has ridiculous BJJ credentials. I mean, he can sweep. He can do a lot of things that Makhachev hasn't seen at the UFC level yet. I mean, look at the guys that Islam fought. I mean, knocked out by Martins. That's obviously an anomaly. He beat Nick Lentz, beat Lysen Tebow, knockout, beat Cajun Johnson, no longer in the UFC, and then most recently beat Sarukian, the other Russian grappling prospect. But, I mean, that was a boring-ass fight too, right? And there's a difference between Sambo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too. I mean, there's obviously a lot of similarities, but I mean, just nobody else would have a takedown grappling-based game plan against Davi Ramos. Or if you did, why would you? I don't know. I'm just saying he's going to have to grapple to win, I think. And yeah, he just has to be careful against Ramos. That's all I'm saying. Ramos is also on a 4-fight win streak. Only loss was to Sergio Moraes, but I want to say that fight was at 170. I know Moraes was significantly bigger in that fight, but yeah, I think the line should be a little bit closer.
All right, we're disagreeing a lot tonight.
So what is the path to victory here? Is it going to be grappling based decision while evading submissions the entire time?
I think he can grapple him on the feet. I think Islam is, what has he got, 4 or 5 inches on him?
Yes.
Reach advantage also.
Same reach.
Is it the same reach?
Islam is 5'10", Ramos is 5'6". They both have a 70-inch reach.
Ramos is like a little, like a little T-Rex. He's got like little T-Rex arms, and I don't know. I could be wrong here, but I think Makhachev's going to be bigger. I think he's going to be stronger too. I know Khabib cuts a lot of weight. And I think Islam does too. I think these guys are very, very big for 155. And I think they're going to have strength in just doing, preparing for this fight together, doing the, going through the motions of training and everything else. Like, I just don't see these guys losing. You know what I mean? Over at that part of the world. So Davi Ramos, I think he's going to have to finish him to beat him, and I don't think he's going to finish him. And the finish would be on the ground via submission, and I just don't see that happening. That's my take on it. Go ahead, 2G. Add what you want. I know you want to put.
No, I get it. I think Makhachev's going to win too. I just don't like him at minus 325. That's all. I just think that Ramos is very, very dangerous, and Islam has never fought a grappler with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu credentials that Ramos has.
So this next fight, we have another Brazilian here, CG. And I just don't see Edson Barbosa losing to Paul Felder. I just don't see it. Am I surprised that he's lost to Justin Gaethje? No, I was ringside for that. And you know how Gaethje prepares for a fight. I mean, I think very highly of Justin Gaethje. Kevin Lee and Khabib, that was a different fight for Barbosa. That wasn't a striking-based fight. The only one that beat him in a striking-based fight was Justin Gaethje, right? That's the kind of guy that can get the best of him in a striking-based fight, and like Michael Johnson back in the day.
Yeah.
But what he did to Dan Hooker, I mean, that was just a total annihilation. Again, he's only 33 years old. He's still only 33 years old. You know, he's coming off that knockout. You know, Justin Gaethje definitely put his lights out. But I think that he's going to be able to, in this fight, you know, keep his distance. I don't think Paul Felder wants to go to the ground. I think he's going to try to pressure him. And I think the problem with Barbosa, if you pressure him and you don't put him in the clinch, he finds a way to just get his kicks off, get his punches off, and he hurts you with his strikes. So I think Felder, I really do like Felder. I think he's great on camera. I think he's great in the ring too. I mean, he's had some decent wins, but I just think that Barbosa's striking is on another level, and he's going to do. I'm not going to say he's going to do the same thing he did to Dan Hooker, but I think that over 3 rounds, he's going to get the better shots in. So I'm going Barbosa.
All right. So there's nothing worse than subjective analysis, and I'm going to provide some subjective analysis. I think Felder has evolved significantly since these last two fought, and in that fight 4 years ago, Barbosa outstruck Felder 64-47. But recently, Felder's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, with his only loss being a split decision loss to Mike Perry. His loss before that was 3 years ago to Trinaldo, and the fight was stopped due to a bad cut. And before that, it was a pretty close fight. Barbosa is 1-3 in his last 4 fights, but in all fairness, he was out-grappled by Khabib and Kevin Lee. But even the fight before that, he was losing to Beneil Dariush before Barbosa landed that second-round flying knee. So I think the blueprint has been laid on how to beat Barbosa. It's nonstop pressure, similar to what we saw with Gaethje. You alluded to it. But I say this is subjective analysis because I just think Felder has that warrior spirit. To beat the guy, you have to freaking kill him. Barbosa does not respond to adversity very well. He just kind of gives up. He looks for a way out when he gets hurt. So I just think Felder has a lot going in this fight. Like I said, I think he's a lot better than when these last 2 fought 4 years ago. I think if Felder can pressure him, really land the leg kicks, close the distance like he did against James Vick, I think he has a good shot to win this fight. I know I think he went down to Abu Dhabi early with Bilal Muhammad. I know they train together at Rufus Sport. So I don't know. I just think Felder's been looking really good lately. And I think he needs to make this fight dirty. He needs to clinch. He needs to attack the legs. He needs to pressure Barbosa nonstop, get his back against the cage. One thing that Dan Hooker did in his fight against Barbosa, he gave Barbosa way too much room to operate. And if you do that, Barbosa is going to beat you every time because he's the most technical striker, I would say, at 155. So,
but don't you think Beneil Dariush really pressured him too?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Dariush was winning that fight. He landed more strikes in that fight. I mean, Dariush was going in for a takedown, and Barbosa timed it perfectly with that flying up knee. But at the end of the day, that's a very low probability outcome. What happens if that fight goes to decision? I think Barboza loses. So if Felder can have a similar game plan, I don't know. I think he can make it ugly. I really do. And, you know, Felder's, I mean, he could get outstruck, I guess. But one line that I really like, I know it seems kind of random, but I'm going to bet Barboza, not inside the distance, whatever that is. I'm going to parlay it with something else because if Barboza wins the fight, he's not finishing Paul Felder. It's not going to be a very good line, I have a feeling. But
yeah,
I'm not going to attack it, and I like parlaying a lot of those prop bets together. But
yeah,
I mean, if Barboza wins, it's striking-based decision.
I do agree with you with that. I mean, if you think of, go back to that Mike Perry fight when he lost to Mike Perry. I mean, Mike Perry had him hurt, broken bones and everything, and still couldn't finish him.
Right.
So,
right.
So main event here. We have Khabib and Dustin Poirier. I absolutely love this fight. This is the matchup that had to happen. I'll be honest with you. I'm a fan of the way Khabib fights and wins, but he just gets annoying outside of the cage to me. I don't know why he annoys me. Dustin Poirier, talk about Paul Felder coming a long way. I think Poirier's come a long way. If you just look at his body, I mean, if you look at his body back when he fought Conor McGregor and his body now, I mean, he's huge. You know what I mean? He's a beast in there. But again, Khabib probably cuts close to 25, 30 pounds to make 155. I'm sure Poirier cuts a lot too. I mean, you talk about Max Holloway. I mean, I think Max cut like 25 pounds to make 155. And how much bigger did Dustin look than him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the cage. So these are two big guys that cut a lot of weight at 155. And, Khabib's 27-0. If he's able to get in on your hips and get that takedown, push you up against the cage and get that takedown, he does that for one or two. I hear a lot of people saying, well, he can do it for one or two rounds, and then if that happens, Poirier's, he's in there. He's in the fight. Poirier could be, completely exhausted by round 3 if that happens.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I just don't get with that analysis. Now, with that being said, if you haven't watched the Daniel Cormier detail on Khabib, I mean, Daniel Cormier just does a great job with that show, the detail show. But he did another great job with this breakdown on Khabib. So, CG, what do you think here? This line actually is getting out of hand too, minus 460.
Yes. So that means that there's an implied probability of 82% that Khabib wins this fight. And when I think about that, do I think Khabib's going to win the fight? Yeah, I do. I mean, Khabib might go down as the greatest lightweight of all time. Arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time. I mean, I don't even know if the guy's ever lost a round. But he's fighting Dustin Poirier, who might be the most well-rounded fighter that he's ever faced. Poirier can wrestle. Poirier has great Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I mean, Poirier can strike, really good boxing. I mean, guy lands almost 6 strikes per minute, lands almost 2 takedowns per fight, 69% takedown defense. It doesn't matter with Khabib. I mean, if I saw that Poirier had 95% takedown defense, if Khabib wants to take you down, he will take you down. But 82% implied probability, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you don't want to stand and trade with Poirier for too long, Plus, another thing, too, is you take Poirier down, it's not like Conor where you can just immediately pass and, just apply that ground and pound for 3 rounds. I mean, Poirier's got better Brazilian jiu-jitsu for sure. I think he's got a better get-up game, but just Nurmagomedov, that just relentless pace. He never gets tired. Lands over 5 takedowns per fight. It's ground and pound. I mean, I agree with you. I think Khabib wins. I just think the line is getting out of control. And I think there's some value for Poirier at plus 365. Do I think he wins? No, but I mean, I don't know. I think this is going to be Khabib's toughest test. Do you agree?
I think this is by far the best. Who do you want to win?
I don't know. Honestly, I would say Poirier. I mean, look what Poirier had to go through to get to this point, right? Lost to Michael Johnson, which was a big setback, and then he had the no contest with Eddie Alvarez. Then he goes on a 4-fight win streak where he made Pettis quit, which isn't very hard to do, but then beats Gaethje in an absolute fucking war, one of my favorite fights of all time. Then he TKOs Eddie Alvarez, and then he did what I didn't think was possible, beat Max Holloway in a striking-based decision.
I
mean,
didn't
that
think,
is a murderer's row to get to the 155 championship.
and I'll even go a step further, man. I didn't think when he went to the stool after round 3 against Justin Gaethje, I didn't think he had a shot in hell of coming in round 4 and winning that fight.
Do you remember his leg?
That's what I was gonna say. Do you remember how bad his leg was beat up?
Yeah.
Like he couldn't even walk.
No.
So, and take it for what it's worth. I mean, Jim Miller in at that, again, I'll bring it up again. UFC 208 fought Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier again against Jim Miller. I mean, he couldn't even walk in that fight. At the end of that fight, he was sitting on his stool.
No.
You know what I mean? So now, don't get me wrong. Khabib is not. That's not his game. He's not going to kick that leg and take that out, but he will bring him down. He'll take him down. But yeah, I mean, I think it's tough to. I'm going to stay away from that fight. I'm just going to enjoy it. But couple things. Cloud. I don't know who this guy is, but this pod needs CG back.
Hey, thank you, Cloud. Cheers.
Some real love. And again, Jay Thacker says we need Yanni back as well. And Yanni will be on Thursday. I said it at the beginning of the pod. I'll say it again now. Yanni will be back on Thursday. Myself, Yanni, Ian Parker, and I just told CG if he wants to come on, he can do that. And then I don't know what's going on with the naming of this, but Ryan Stanko, thank you. He's here late, but he says that this is titled Miocic and Cormier again. That's 2 weeks in a row that the title's been Miocic Cormier. I promise you that this is not supposed to be that title. I even have it up top. UFC.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, it says UFC 242. Huh.
Yeah, that's why. So I don't know where it says Miocic Cormier, but it happened last week. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But CG, any last words or anything going on here? Well, you said you took a look at DK already, huh?
I did. Yeah.
Anything you like there?
No, not a whole lot of value, to be honest.
Diego Ferreira?
The dogs that I like are, like CDF at 7,200. Ramos is 7,000. And then, Felder, I'm going to have some shares of him at 7,700. And then I like Cummings at 7,900. Hopefully can score a late third round finish. But besides that, it's pretty top heavy. I like Madge at 8,700. I like Jujua at 8,400. So, and then obviously, Khabib and Blades are DraftKings legends, so I love them up top.
Yeah, especially with those takedowns.
I think this is a rare. Sorry to interrupt. I think this is a rare card where you might even be able to stack even in a GPP. If you Khabib and Poirier, obviously.
Hold on one sec, CG. Before MMA KO is saying he says the Miocic Cormier too. Guys, just let me know where you see that. Because I'm streaming it to like 4 different spots now, so I don't know where you see it and where you don't see it. Because I don't see it anywhere, and I also, I'm looking at the top of the thing, but the UFC 242, nameplate is on the top of this stream. So CG, you just said you like to stack this or you don't?
No, I don't think I would. But you look at the last fight with Poirier and Holloway. I want to say that Holloway put up 90 points in a loss. Poirier put up 122, I want to say, in a win or something crazy. So together they put up over 200 points. And obviously it's going to be a different type of fight. I'm assuming that Poirier is going to be spending a lot of time on his back. But I guess, you know what, it's probably a bad strategy. The only reason I bring that up is because there just isn't much value in the dogs. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a dog that wins, but who? I mean, hopefully CDF can come through. I don't think he will. I mentioned Ramos. He probably loses too. That leaves potentially Felder and Cummings, but I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in Felder either. But yeah, just not a lot of value with the dogs. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't
trying
even
to
look.
find a couple mid-range lineups too that might be contrarian because I'm assuming Khabib's going to be north of 60% owned, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
And Blades is going to be probably north of 50% too. I mean, just when you look at their stat logs, it's insane. So,
And
or
you would think,
maybe Blades might be a little bit contrarian because of Khabib. You have to pay up what I think Khabib's 9,400. I think Blades is 9,300. So it's going to be tough to fit both of those guys into your lineup.
well,
So
if you get Ferreira in there, I don't think it's too bad, right?
no, you can do it, but yeah, yeah, you need, I think, at least two inexpensive dogs to make that happen.
Yeah,
Depending on how creative you get, I mean, it's possible.
yeah. So after we just mentioned that, we just had like 4 people just tell us on Twitter it's labeled incorrectly, on YouTube it's labeled incorrectly. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this. But thanks, guys, for saying that. Again, I'm gonna have to look into this. But all right, CG gave a lot of good analysis. I think my analysis was pretty shitty this week. He disagreed with just about all my picks.
Hey,
So
that means nothing. That means
yeah,
nothing. I
that's
got my ass handed to me last weekend. So are you gonna watch the pay-per-view? Because I told you about my dilemma, and I want to bitch about this real quick. Both
Okay.
of my fucking brothers decided to move on Saturday.
Right.
So I can't even watch the fights. And they rented separate U-Hauls. I'm going to be moving starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning, probably until damn near 8 o'clock at night. So I don't know. Just text me, keep me updated.
I've done this before, right? Like you've been to weddings and
concerts. Like yeah.
Yeah. You make a lot of plans during UFC events, I've noticed.
Well, is this the first ever UFC pay-per-view that didn't start at 10 o'clock? I mean, obviously you get fight cards that are early in the morning, late afternoon, but I've never seen this happen for a pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view, this may be the first pay-per-view.
So,
but again, they try to stay away from it. This is a pretty big event, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from what I understand, I think it was Anakin Florian that I listened to earlier in the week, and they have like princes going over here, kings. Like there's gonna be
it's a big deal.
It's a pretty big deal, and I'm gonna guess too that the tickets are probably pretty expensive. So you gotta have a lot of money coming through this, and then everybody's gonna be streaming it illegally over in the States. So
yeah, but I think the good thing about this card is from a betting perspective. Yeah, there's a lot of wide lines, but if you look hard enough, I think you can definitely identify the setup fights, and there are a lot of them.
Yeah, and again, I kind of picked a bunch of them, and then you went against me too. So
I don't think Akhmedov and Cummings is a setup fight. I'm talking about Azader and Pakalin. I'm talking about Jujua and Maras, shit like that. Muhammad and Sato. I don't know. Akhmedov and Cummings. I mean, I think that's a pretty closely contested fight for the most part.
All right. All right.
I don't know. As you have me second guessing my Nordine Taleb pick, that's for sure.
I mean, I'm just going by what I see. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's like 48 years old, like you.
Fucking asshole. All right. Anything else?
We're gonna end Brews and Bets. Hopefully, CG comes to New York City. If anybody wants to party with him in New York City, he's planning on coming for 2 or 3 days.
That's right.
In November, but that's only if somebody buys him a ticket. So if anybody has an in, DraftKings, I'm talking to you right now. If anybody has an in to get CG to New York City, we're trying to bring him in. We'll get him a nice little Airbnb over in Weehawken, Union City, over in Jersey, and we'll take care of him. So if anybody wants to do it, I'm going to put a GoFundMe for CG to get him a ticket in New York City.
CG in New York City. That's